All right, I got into this ABC News, AP, also this is News of Australia. Originally broke it, was the Australian. Vioxx maker Merck and Co. drew up doctor hit lists for those to be liquidated, those to be killed. That's mainstream news. Those criticizing their drugs that are killing people like Vioxx and the human papilloma virus, Gardasil drugs. And these are hardcore people. Got articles with the local police and military training for gun confiscation. We broke 2 days ago that the VFW is being told to prepare even Civil War cannons and things, and Spanish-American War, guns, rifles, daggers, so the BATF can confiscate them when they need to. That's happening. Obama oust AmeriCorps director who investigated Friend. AP reports Obama incredibly corrupt. President Obama says he has lost confidence in the Inspector General who investigates AmeriCorps and other national service programs and has told Congress he is removing him from the position. Obama's move follows an investigation by IG Gerald Walpin, finding misuse of federal grants by a nonpartisan education group led by Sacramento Mayor Kevin Johnson, who is an Obama supporter and former NBA basketball star. Walpin was criticized by the acting U.S. attorney in Sacramento for the way he handled the investigation of Johnson and St. Hope Academy, a nonprofit group that received hundreds of thousands of dollars in federal grants from the Corporation of National and Community Service. So Obama's fired this person to cover up. He's already, of the stimulus package, $4 billion to Acorn and AmeriCorps and City year, run by the Karl Rove of 4 to 5 administrations. You can debate that. David Gergen, Aaron, a few weeks ago, did a huge report, and that's those videos they put on TV with taxpayer money of, this is my uniform, I'm City year, and red and black uniforms marching, and tattletale squads, their own private political army illegally being recruited with federal money. Oh, Acorn's not corrupt during the election, and then just look at it now. So Obama is just a big Chicago machine, corrupt thug. Now look at this. I want to shift gears into another subject. I have interviewed Ben Livingston, the meteorologist, the father of weather weapons. The guy's amazing. World War II vet, flew into hurricanes are in our side of the world, and they only go up to about 200 miles an hour. They can go up to 250, 300 miles an hour, and they call them typhoons. Flew into typhoons. He was there leading fighter squadrons in Vietnam, manipulating. He would go in where there were no clouds and make it rain 10 feet on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Just amazing. And I got sent documents by a listener going, this was just declassified. I think it was 2002. Well, PrisonPlanet.tv members can watch the Ben Livingston interviews, but the point is, and then it got ripped to the YouTube channel, so it's out there, but in high quality for PrisonPlanet.tv members. The issue is that he was the father of weather weapons. He got Stanford Research Institute to develop it. He became the head of the, it was the Navy, after that, the Navy Weapons Laboratory. Just an amazing individual. And he flew these fighter jets into typhoons. He did all of this stuff. He was the first guy to fly into hurricanes and typhoons. And by 1967, they had certified that they could kill hurricanes, make hurricanes, weaken hurricanes, strengthen hurricanes. And he said with today's technologies, back then it would take 100 aircraft. With 8 aircraft, he could go in and kill a hurricane or make a hurricane. And he was calling for a Department of Weather to control the weather. And he also runs a big weather control operation. He's their chief meteorologist. He got some heat coming on the show, and he's still a nice guy, but he won't come on after he originally came on because he got a lot of heat from the spooks. We kind of snuck up on folks because I got the documents from a listener. It was nowhere in the news. I checked the National Archives, found out they'd just been declassified 6 months before. These listeners giving us tips. I called Ben Livingston up, and I said, I'd like to have you on the radio. Had him on. Suddenly it was Fox News, CNN, but still they hadn't interviewed him. I said, fly here next week. I want to interview you. That's going to be in the chemtrail film. But the issue is that he got here, and he got into weather control. Now, that's separate from HARP and all these other technologies. But the issue is they could control hurricanes in 67. That's 40 years ago, isn't it? Yeah, 40 years ago. 42, 3 years ago. So then they say there's no weather control. And then we started noticing in the mid-90s that suddenly condensation trails were forming at 2,000 or 3,000 feet in the summer. Impossible. And they were staying there for hours. when they'd always disappeared, even at high altitudes, in a few minutes. And then we started getting reports of low-altitude spraying, high-altitude spraying, helicopter spraying, declassified admissions of spraying Subtilis globigii bacteria all over New Mexico, all over Texas, Oklahoma, killing people with it. That was in the Daily Oklahoman. All of this is going on and happening. And still you're called a kook if you talk about it. And then I began to interview meteorologists and climatologists on this show and weathermen from major TV stations going, no, yeah, you can see them spraying here. And now in Florida news, they go, look at all these lines sprayed. The government's doing that, but it doesn't look like chaff. Chaff's in a small area. It was, like the whole area blocking storms about to hit, I guess, to keep the drought going. And so everybody, all these meteorologists who learned that this isn't normal, they're now going, oh, that's because there's new phenomena, new clouds, new systems being discovered. And it's normal to have barium salts and aluminum dioxide raining down. And we said, folks, it's at least a weather modification program with a bunch of other programs rolled in. Then listeners began to email us 2 years ago going, high altitude aerosol spraying, Google that. So I Googled it. And it was thousands, Department of Energy, the Japanese Department of Energy, German Department of Energy and Power, and British, and all these countries, and NASA saying we've dimmed the Earth by 20% for its safety, and kids' textbooks. They always tell parents, there's no plan to chip you, but then the kids' textbooks say we're going to chip you, it's good. There's a world government, it's good, in the textbooks, and they tell parents it doesn't exist, but your kid's being taught it's good. The weird psychological warfare going on. Textbooks saying it was happening, and then a few months ago, his head of science department comes out, Obama, and says, oh, we're going to spray the skies with barium salts and aluminum dioxide to save the Earth from global warming, when the science actually shows it's causing warming, which they may need to do. It looks like we're going into an ice age, and they're trying to block it. And they would do that. It would really be an ice age. They're trying to block it. And they said, we've got to have a carbon tax to control us saying it's heat. So they can then, as we get cold, say that they saved us from that. I don't know what they're doing. Can they use the weather weapons they admittedly have to cause all these problems and then say, oh, look, it's climate change. Do what we want. That's what witch doctors would do thousands of years ago. Every time there was a problem, they'd say the Hoodoo god had done it or whatever.